that they can move around maybe a little bit on the field. So that is something that we will look for him.
That helps.
On Thursday.
That helps. You don't need it.
And then we'll see who wants that on April 23rd. It's the first day of the draft. Any guesses as to who that might be, Terrell Davis?
Who wants him? Listen, I look at Justin Herbert, and I see a quarterback that's still a little raw when you watch him. He's 6'6", he's 230-something pounds, big frame, big arm. But you kind of watch him, I think his mechanics are off at times. He throws the ball from different platforms that's not really sound. It's an anticipation. He lacks a little bit of that. So for me, a quarterback like him would go great in an offense or a team that already has a quarterback that maybe have a bridge guy that he can sit behind in, a year or so. And I'm thinking about the Colts in this situation, right?
Okay.
Jacoby Brissett is a quarterback now. There's a lot of talk of Phillip Rivers maybe going there. Mm-hmm. And so I would love to see them pair him up with that team, sit behind a Phillip Rivers and sit there for a year to learn how to be a quarterback and then get thrust into the fire.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you, TD. When you see Justin Herbert, he does show you so many intangibles that you're like, man, this kid can be really good.
You see some good stuff.
But he is so raw. Just thinking about him at the combine, watching him get the ball from under center. He didn't do that ever in college, they said. And he was counting his steps. And so in the National Football League, you got to be able to get the ball out from under the center.
But you could transition to that pretty quickly, right? Is that complicated?
You would think, but this dude's had from the end of his college season in January until now to figure it out for the combine.
That's like a month and a week.
Yeah, Lindsay, I think I can do that in a day.
No, that's like 2. Never
But I
mind,
think
that's
I can
much
do that
more
in,
than that.
There's a little bit of time, but I feel like I can figure it out in a week.
Okay.
And so he's had a little bit of time, and he's still.
Until that pressure comes.
We're going to test you out on
resort
that.
back to your old ways.
Get you out on the demo field.
Yeah,
Have you
let's
drop
do
back. Probably won't make it to the 23 pick. That's where the Patriots pick. Maybe he will. I'm not sure if they'll have the picks to move up either, but it sounds like they could be looking for a new quarterback. Also, Tom Brady set to become a free agent next week. It is possible he leaves. So where would that leave the Patriots? Haven't had to look for a starting quarterback since the turn of the century and have gotten 17 10-plus win seasons out of Brady. That is a silly statistic. One of those 10-win seasons was last year. It was actually a 12-win season, and we talked about that like it was a down year for the Patriots. If they don't have him moving forward, how much of a step back do you anticipate? Are they a playoff team, D-Hall?
Well, I think they are still a playoff team, even without Tom Brady. If you watch what Tom Brady did last year, it just wasn't very Tom-like, right? I mean, just think of some of the numbers. His completion percentage, 60.8, the worst since 2013, and that puts him 27th in the league. Yards per pass attempt, 27th in the league, the worst he's had since 2002. Even his passer rating, the worst he's had since 2013, and it was 19th in the league. And so those numbers there are showing me you can put a mediocre quarterback with Bill Belichick in this offense and this
I don't think
just insane defense, and they have a chance because TD, who do they have to beat to go to the playoffs? Really, in that division, they got to win that division.
To the Bills, I get it.
Buffalo, and Buffalo, they're gonna put a great defense on the field, but that offense still isn't going to score a lot of points.
You sound like when Peyton Manning was in Denver. Everybody said that Peyton has fallen off, and you can do better without Peyton Manning. What happened when Peyton left? The Broncos have been struggling. Tom Brady, we talk about the intangibles of what Brady brings to the table, right? It elevates everybody's play. Even if his play was down, look around that team. The defense played well. Guys have certain expectations to play well. When you remove that, who is going to fill that void? It's not just on the field production. It's somebody who can elevate other people. That's going to be so hard. Man, that's going to be hard. Okay, we're going to find out. We're finally going to find out.
Trust in Belichick.
I do.
He has a plan. Don't worry about what it is.
About that one.
There's a lot of guesswork involved with finding a quarterback, and the Redskins may be figuring that out right now. Your former team, D-Hall, went out and got their quarterback last year in the draft with the 15th pick. We've heard some buzz this offseason about them maybe wanting to move on from Dwayne Haskins, maybe taking a quarterback at 2. Ron Rivera said of Haskins, he's not anointed, that's for sure. If I'm Dwayne Haskins, I don't know if I like that being said about me. What's going on here?
Well, Ron's one of those coaches. He wants all of his guys to go out and prove it and earn it. And so if Tua's healthy, I think Tua is a generational talent. I think he's hard to pass up. But because I kind of know the history of Dwayne Haskins and I know that Dan Snyder wanted Dwayne Haskins, we're going to know a lot about what happens at number 2. If the Redskins go out and get a quarterback, we're going to know that Ron Rivera has the keys to this organization, and it is his decision. If they don't, then we're still going, it's still going to be up in the air who's really running the show. If they go Chase Young, obviously Chase Young is a talented player that I think you can't pass up. But I tell you what, I like Tua a lot.
I do too.
You've been saying for a while they should go get him.
That's not even a question with me.
No?
I'm getting Tua.
All right. I don't know if they would have hired Ron Rivera, though, a few months back if he didn't sit in that meeting and say, here's what I can do with Dwayne Haskins. Because none of this was really on the table.
Could be a smoke.
Cowboys, Steelers. They'll be the first two teams we see in 2020. Announced today as the Hall of Fame game participants for August 6th. Hi there, everybody. Welcome to NFL Total Access, presented by Nike on Tuesday, March 10th. That's the original day that the franchise tag window was supposed to close. Then it was moved to the 12th because of the CBA negotiations, and now it has been moved once again. Ian Rappaport, what is the new deadline? Why'd they move it back?
The new deadline for teams to apply the franchise or transition tag is now 11:59 a.m. and 59 seconds on Monday. So basically, teams will have anywhere from 1 second to about 1 minute to figure out who all is getting franchised and which free agents are actually free. And this comes for a very good reason. What happened before, basically the way it was set up before, is that the franchise tag window and the actual vote for the CBA were crossing over, and teams would not necessarily know if they had two tags, which would be under the old CBA, or one tag under the new CBA. So they'd have the awkwardness, for instance, teams like the Titans or the Cowboys or the Bucks potentially tagging two players, then having to pull a tag off a player if the CBA got passed. Now, no longer an issue. Teams will know, did the CBA get passed, yes or no? And then how many tags should they have, one or two? They should know that right before the tampering window opens.
Thank you, Ian. So it might be a few more days till we have some sort of resolution on what the Cowboys plan to do with this guy. Is the #1 free agent of the offseason, according to NFL.com, who is still without a long-term deal in Dallas. For more on where that negotiation stands with Dak Prescott, Jane Slater's with the team in Frisco.
With the franchise tag deadline moved to Monday, the Cowboys now have a couple of extra days to try and finally get this extension done with Dak Prescott. Here's what we know right now. Since the combine, that guaranteed money number has gone up a bit. I was also told by a source informed that this deal is now currently bigger than Jared Goff's. Now, in what way, still unclear. I tried to get them to clarify if that meant the annual salary, the years in length, or even the guaranteed money. So that's what I was told. That's where we'll stay. What's interesting about this situation is most teams typically work out long-term deals with their quarterbacks a year or two in advance. The Cowboys are trying to get this done as this expires. So right now, if they don't get it done, they still have the option, of course, of the franchise tag, or in the least likely scenario, the opportunity to let him test the offer and then try to match that one on the open market.
Thank you very much, Jane, and welcome to Terrell Davis and DeAngelo Hall. I think she used some interesting language there about the Cowboys' options if they wanted to retain control. Does Dak Prescott have that control right now?
Yeah, I think Dak Prescott absolutely has that control. I saw a teammate of mine, Kirk Cousins, and the way it played out, where they let his contract expire and then tried to franchise him, then franchise him again. And before you know it, that franchise number was so high that Kirk Cousins held all the cards. And so Dak Prescott has the cards in his hands right now. I think what a lot of people don't understand is Dak wasn't a top 5 draft pick. This was a later round drafted guy who has earned this contract. And so as a player in that locker room, to see a guy like Dak Prescott, who has the kind of wins he's put up in this league, not get the respect to go ahead and get that deal done, that kind of has you thinking, like, what will it take for this organization to really give me the money? You saw Ezekiel Elliott, he had to hold out. So you don't typically see quarterbacks hold out like that. Yeah. But, hey, Dak, you might need to hold out, buddy.
But, D-Hall, if you're in that locker room and you see how they're treating Dak, right? Mm-hmm. This quarterback has been there. He's never missed a game. He's outplayed the guys he was drafted in the same draft class with. We're talking about Carson Wentz and Jared Goff. So we talk about a guy that's been there, that's put in the work, that deserves a contract. And I'm seeing this where they're not paying him. They're hesitant for some reason to pay him what he's worth. And now you're hearing maybe he's going to end up taking that 1 year, whether it's a franchise tag or, a short, 3-year deal, but not worth what he's looking for. as a player, I'm like, man, I don't know. I can't, it's hard for me to look at leadership to set you guys want to win and rewarding players. I mean, I'm going to go back to my first year as a rookie. I got 6th-round draft pick. After my first year, Mike Shanahan came to me and Pat Bowlen said, hey, we want to redo your deal. And they were fair. They wanted to make sure that their leaders had the right contracts. And Jerry, just go ahead and give the man the contract he deserves. And it seemed like they're still haggling